The Enchanted Tale of Eliza and the Moonlit Forest. In a quaint village nestled between rolling hills and deep woods, there lived a little girl named Eliza. She was known for her boundless curiosity and her knack for finding adventures even in the simplest of places. One particular evening, as the sun melted into a pool of orange and pinks, Eliza noticed something peculiar. A shimmering path of moonlight stretched from her window all the way into the forest, glowing with an unusual silver hue. It looked almost like a beckoning invitation. Her grandmother had often whispered stories of the Moonlit Forest, a place that only revealed its magic on nights when the moon was full and glowing brightest. It was said that those brave enough to follow the moon's path would uncover hidden wonders beyond imagination. But remember, my dear, her grandmother would always caution, only those with a kind heart can discover the true magic within. Tonight, with a heart full of wonder and just a dash of mischief, Eliza decided she would find out for herself. She slipped on her softest slippers, wrapped herself in her warm cloak, and tiptoed past her sleeping cat, Mittens. The glow from the moon seemed to call her name as she opened the door and stepped outside. Have you ever wanted to follow a glowing path to see where it leads? If you could, what kind of magic do you think you'd find? The air was crisp, and the forest seemed alive with whispers as Eliza made her way along the shimmering path. Fireflies twinkled around her like tiny lanterns, lighting her way deeper into the woods. She had never seen the forest look like this before. Each tree seemed to sway with its own secret, and the leaves shimmered as though dusted with glitter. The world felt different, as if a layer of ordinary had been peeled away to reveal something extraordinary. Suddenly, Eliza heard a soft rustling nearby. Turning her head, she spotted a small creature with round, curious eyes peeking out from behind a bush. It was a raccoon, but unlike any she had seen before. Its fur glowed faintly in the moonlight, and it wore a tiny satchel across its chest. The raccoon stepped forward, tilting its head in greeting. "Are you here for the Moonlight Festival?" the raccoon asked, its voice soft and curious. Eliza blinked in surprise. "The Moonlight Festival?" she repeated. She hadn't known about any festival. The raccoon nodded eagerly. "Oh yes, it's a special night, you see. Only those who truly believe in the magic of the forest can attend. My name is Pippin, and I can show you the way." Eliza's heart fluttered with excitement. She gave a nod, her eyes wide with wonder. "I'd love to come." Pippin led her deeper into the forest, the shimmering path winding through tall, ancient trees. They crossed over a narrow bridge made of intertwined branches, and below, a brook flowed with water that sparkled like liquid stardust. Eliza couldn't help but dip her fingers in, feeling the cool, tingling sensation that seemed to dance up her arm. If you were here, would you touch the sparkling water too? What do you think it would feel like? After a while, they arrived at a large clearing, and Eliza gasped at the sight before her. The entire forest seemed to have gathered here. Animals of all kinds, rabbits, foxes, deer, owls, and even creatures she didn't recognize, were busy decorating the clearing. Fireflies wove through the air, hanging tiny lanterns from tree branches, while squirrels ran back and forth, arranging colorful flowers into garlands. The atmosphere was alive with excitement and warmth. In the center of the clearing stood an enormous tree, its trunk wide and gnarled, and its branches reaching high into the sky. The tree was covered in blossoms that glowed softly and nestled between its roots was a small stage made of moss-covered stones. Pippin turned to Eliza with a twinkle in his eye. The Moonlight Festival is about to begin. You must take part in the ceremony, Eliza. It's the only way to truly experience the magic of the Moonlit Forest. Eliza felt a mixture of excitement and nerves. But what do I have to do? She asked. Pippin smiled and gestured to the stage. All you have to do is listen to the forest and dance like you've never danced before. Let your heart guide you. Eliza took a deep breath, then stepped up onto the stage. The forest grew quiet, all eyes on her. She closed her eyes and listened, really listened. She could hear the gentle rustle of the leaves, the soft murmur of the brook in the distance, and the rhythmic flutter of the firefly's wings. Slowly she began to move, her feet light on the mossy stones. The music of the forest swelled around her, a melody made up of whispers and wind, of rustling leaves and the heartbeat of the earth. Eliza twirled and leapt, her cloak flowing behind her like a wave. She felt weightless, as if the forest itself were lifting her, guiding her movements. The animals watched in awe, their eyes wide with delight, and soon they began to join in. The rabbits hopped, the foxes spun in circles, and even the owls flapped their wings in time with the music. Imagine you're here dancing with Eliza. How would you move? Would you spin, hop, or twirl? As the dance continued, Eliza felt a warmth growing in her chest, a warmth that spread through her entire body. She opened her eyes and saw that the blossoms on the tree were glowing brighter, their light filling the clearing with a soft, golden glow. It was as if the tree itself was alive with joy, responding to the magic of the festival. Suddenly, there was a flash of light, and a figure appeared at the base of the tree. It was an elderly fox, his fur silver, and his eyes filled with kindness. He wore a cloak woven from leaves, and in his paw he held a staff topped with a crystal that glowed like the moon. The forest fell silent as the fox spoke, his voice deep and melodic. Welcome, dear friends, to the Moonlight Festival. Tonight, we celebrate the magic that lives within each of us, the magic of kindness, of joy, and of believing in the impossible. He turned to Eliza, his eyes twinkling. And you, young one, have shown great courage and a true heart. The forest has chosen you to be its moonlight guardian, a protector of its wonders. Eliza's eyes widened in surprise. Me? A guardian? The fox nodded. Yes, dear child, the magic of the forest lives in you now. Whenever you are in need, or whenever you wish to share the magic with others, the forest will be here for you. He held out his staff, and the crystal glowed brighter. Eliza reached out and touched it, feeling a warmth spread through her fingers. In that moment, she felt a deep connection to the forest, to the trees, the animals, the shimmering brook, and the glowing blossoms. She knew that no matter where she went, she would always carry a piece of the moonlit forest within her. The animals cheered, their voices blending with the music of the forest. Pippin danced around Eliza, his eyes shining with pride. You did it, Eliza! You're one of us now! Eliza smiled, her heart full to the brim with joy. She looked around at the clearing, at the animals who had welcomed her, and at the glowing blossoms that filled the night with light. She knew this was a night she would never forget. As the festival began to wind down, the animals settled beneath the great tree, sharing stories and laughter. Eliza sat beside Pippin, her head resting on his shoulder, her eyes growing heavy. She felt the warmth of the forest around her, the gentle glow of the blossoms like a blanket of stars. Before she drifted off to sleep, Eliza looked up at the silver fox, who stood by the tree, his eyes watching over them all. "Will I see you again?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. The fox smiled, his eyes soft. "The magic of the forest is always here, Eliza. Whenever you need it, just follow the moonlight." Eliza closed her eyes, a smile on her lips, and let the warmth of the forest lull her into a deep, peaceful sleep. Do you think you'd be brave enough to follow the moonlight like Eliza did? What kind of magic do you think you'd find? And so, the Moonlight Festival came to an end, but the magic of the forest lived on, in the trees, in the animals, and in the heart of a little girl named Eliza, who had danced beneath the glowing blossoms and found her place among the wonders of the Moonlit Forest.